So the program today is Ofri Reiner. She is a survivor of the Nova Festival, music festival in South Israel that happened on October 7. And she's here to share her experience. Just amazing girl, woman, young woman. And her testimony and understanding and encouragement as far as going face forward to face her trauma from that experience, and just a glimpse of resilience and the human experience, and the spirit that she have, and just amazing, just very powerful.
I'm gonna take it out. Perfect. Oh, even better. Yeah, I'm just wandering around most of the time. Hi, pleasure to meet you all. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you all for listening. I will have 30 minutes. I will have 15 minutes when I will speak. I want to share my testimony, and I want to have some time and some room for questions, because I know that you'll probably have a lot. What I require from you is, when I speak about October 7th, it takes a lot out of me mentally, and I just need your undivided attention. I know we've just had a good meal, so we can sit quietly and have fun. For me, it's important. Before I'll tell you about the massacre of October 7th and what I've experienced at the same day, I think it's important for you to get to know me, the person who was before. I think that clicker is making some troubles now. Okay. When I was 14 years old, I participated in an organization called Seeds of Peace, where Israelis, Palestinians, Egyptians, and Jordanians and Americans spoke in summer camp about peace. Since a very young age, I believed that this is my generation to bring peace to the Middle East. I believed that it was my duty to hold those two narratives together and to understand the Palestinian pain as long as the Israeli pain. While I was going on with my life, and when I was 18, like every other woman and man in Israel, I got drafted to the army. I wanted to do the best as I can to serve my country and that my family would be safe. So I got drafted as a combat soldier and as a commander. I was in search and rescue, and I had my own 8 soldiers. I had males and females, but this is just a beautiful photo that I love. Being in search and rescue means that for 3 years, I'm taking my life away from me, and I'm bringing them to the country that I'm living in. When a building will collapse, I will be the first one with my soldiers to rescue them with any kind of equipments that we have. And on a daily basis, I was on Hebron and West Bank, making sure that threats will not enter the Israeli border. Click one more. Yeah, I think that it is. Great. The Nova was a concert, was a festival of 3,000 young people that wanted to celebrate love, life, and dance. It's called trance in Israel. Just very rhythmic and tribal dancing, a lot of sweating, and a lot of love. You'd see all the smiling faces across of you, and you know that you're in a good place. I came with 4 of my friends. We were one full car together. At 6:29, the rocket started to come. We were about 3.5 miles away from the Gaza border, so everything started to approach us very near. As a commander and as a combat soldier that served next to the Gaza border, the rockets weren't very interrupting for me. But we urged to the car. We did the best as I could to get as fast as we can. We started driving, and we arrived to some kind of a T intersection. 3,000 people walking from the same place at the same time, complete chaos everywhere. We headed to the north, which means that we turned left. We were in the most left lane, and we started driving. It took about a few seconds to understand that we were one car behind a white pickup truck of the Hamas, and they started shooting all over the lanes that were next to them. We were behind them. Aviad, my driver, is an amazing driver. He did a U-turn and hit another car and kept driving. While I was on the way, you'd see a lot of small shelters in Gaza. In the Gaza envelope, there is safe rooms every few meters because there's a lot of rockets there all the time. And back then, all the safe rooms was full. When I called my parents and I told them that the rockets started to come, they told me, go and enter every safe room, you'll be okay. You can knock on every door, on every kibbutz, and everything will be fine. I didn't want to warn them or to tell them what I was seeing. In those safe rooms, grenade was being pulled down. People were died inside those safe rooms. In all of the kibbutzim, people were butchered, and all those kibbutzim were demolished. When we did the U-turn from the north, we started driving to the south until we arrived to the entrance of Kibbutz Be'eri. Kibbutz Be'eri is now one of the biggest symbols of October 7th because there's almost nobody left there. We were about to enter the gate of Be'eri, and then there was a civilian's car that stood on the side of the road. We approached him, asked him what's going on, why is he standing there? And he looked at us and said, do you remember the car accident you did in the north right after you saw the terrorists? That was me. Can we exchange details? All the girls looked at him shocked. Do you think it's the right time to ask for details? Really? I mean, don't you see what's going on? We exchanged details. It took some time. By the time it happened, a car came out from the entrance of Be'eri and told us not to enter because there are terrorists there. The north was blocked, the south was blocked. The only thing we could have done is to go back to the parking lot. After a few seconds, after a few minutes, we were slowly driving and approaching nowhere. We were, on the one side, you'd see a forest with a lot of long, tall, narrow trees. And on the other side, you'd see a vast potato field with soft soil lined up in rows. From the anxiousness, I had to pee, like every other girl in the universe. So I took my friend with me and I went to the forest. After a few seconds, terrorists from the uphill of the forest targeted me, started shooting at both of us. We glitched down to the car, and then they started shooting at the car. So we stood there for a while, lay down with our heads between our hands. When we heard some sort of silence, we started driving towards the potato field. But it took 1, 2, 3 bumps, and the car got stuck. There was too much sand in the engine. That was 1 second of grace that all we need to do is to grasp everything together and just react. The only thing I took with me is a portable charger and a phone, and I started running in the middle of the forest, about a few hundreds running in the same low zone, surrounded by hills, and all the terrorists were targeting us from the uphill. I remember myself running there, knowing that I'm in the worst spot that I can. My luck, I call it like that, was that I twisted my ankle at the party. So every step I took from one leg to another, from one row to another, the only thing I could look at was the step ahead of me. If I would stop and look left and right, and I would see the injured people, the dead people, the people that lost their lives in the middle of the potato field, I'm not sure if I would be able to keep running. After I finished the potato field, I started walking in the forest. We were about 1,000 people walking in the same direction. We walked for 4 hours, for 11 miles, 19 kilometers. No water, under the scorching sun, not knowing if we're getting closer or further away. At some point, you could differentiate between the missiles and the rockets and the RPGs and the shotguns, but at the beginning, all we heard is just silence or noise. It's hard to speak about this memory all the time again, so I'm always relying on the things that brings me back hope. One of the stories that I remember in particular was that we were walking, dehydrated, looking for water everywhere. We arrived to a pomelo field, and for us, pomelo is a big juicy fruit and a big source of water. So we took as many pomelas as we could from the trees and peeled it off and gave it a bite. But the pomelas wasn't in the season, didn't have any juice in it. Threw it away, kept walking. And then we arrived to an orange field. But the oranges were green, didn't seem like they're ready to be taken down. But I took the shot, because what do I have to lose? I took one orange down, I peeled it off, gave it a bite, and it was the best orange I've ever tasted. It was sour and sweet, just in the right amount, and exactly perfect for the Israeli climate and of the Pardesim of Israel. And I remember myself starting yelling to everyone that was behind me, the oranges, and you'd see all those people here walking in the same direction, just splitting up and trying to pick as many oranges as they could. For me, when I get back to this story, it always reminds me of hope. We arrived to Kibbutz Patish after 4 hours. And from that point on, civilians of Israel just did everything they could so we could move as fast as we can. People brought us food. People came and asked for help. And there was one civilian that brought his bus and just started to take all the survivors from the field to their homes. I arrived to my home, Haifa, the north, at 6 p.m. I had a really hard time after October 7th, and I never drew before October 7th. But a month after, I needed so desperately to try to cherish the people that lost their lives. I had so much guilt that I'm alive and they don't. So I took name by name, put it down on my own, one of my first drawings, called it The Girl. I didn't know how hard it is to count till 405. I thought I have enough room. I don't. Now, when I'm displaying it and I'm showing that and I'm selling it as prints, I added the name of my brother, Shalev Dagan. My family got divorced when I was 7 years old. My dad, this hottie, married Flor. I have my own little sister, Carmel. And Omer and Shalev are twins, and they're Flor's sons. We are a big, beautiful, mixed family. We are always fighting. We went to every holiday together. We loved each other from the bottom of our hearts. And at 6 p.m., when I arrived back home, I came to the warm embrace of my little sister, relieved. I hugged her, and she looked at me crying, telling me that my brother Shalev Dagan is missing. Shalev was a soldier in Golani Brigade, one of the first one who fought amongst the terrorists. When I was in Reim parking lot, he was next to Nirim, one of the kibbutzim. There were 24 people in front of 1,500 terrorists for 50 minutes of battle. I remember Shalev with long hair and unibrow, climbing over trees, always smiling, always singing. He knew he's going to be a combat soldier. He knew he's going to be the best soldier that he could, because that was his duty and that was his way to protect his family. At one of his conversations with his mom, at July of the same year, he said to her, "Mom, just so you know, there will be a war, and I'm completely okay with that. I am willing to sacrifice my life for you to live better ones." Shalev wasn't special. There are so many kids in Israel, kids, we're 18, that unknowingly giving their life away because they know that this is their time to sacrifice their life. And we do it with a full heart. How can I explain to a stranger a country that when a mother is giving birth for 2 boys, she knows that in 18 years from now, they might be gone. In 18 years from now, they won't be hers anymore. Generations of Israelis trying to make better life in order for us to live safe and sound. Like I drafted to be a combat soldier, so is my brother, so is many more that are now still fighting over those borders. October 7th didn't leave any family whole in our country. As a girl who just came out of the Nova, to the eldest daughter, the need to sit and mourn over her brother at his funeral, I felt so much guilt. I felt so much pain that I couldn't hold my own body. It felt like it was too heavy on me. I was like a ghost for a month, romanticizing my own death, thinking of my nearest end when I'm 21. But I'm here now, speaking to you, speaking to everyone that I can, telling the sad homage of Israel, because I found in my life meaning, and I infuse my life with the meaning that I want. And when I manage to step out of my own pain, look left and right, and see that all the people around me, all the people that I love, all the people that I care about are in pain, my friends from my unit, my brother, my sister, my mother, I understood that if I got my life back, there must have been a reason, and it's my duty to find this reason. Now, after so long in the States, moving between communities across, trying to explain how badly I love my country, with not any envy, any resentment, any sort of political opinion towards the other side. All I want to say is that I love my country so deeply that it hurts. And the absurdity that the same land that I keep longing for and loving is the same land that took my brother, the same land that took my innocence, the same land that took my childhood. The most beautiful part about Israel is that we are all one. The national flower in Israel is anemones, kalaniot. And at the same bloody land that I was running over in Gaza envelope, the same land that I was running over and took so many lives of my people, in their season at fall, the flowers bloom beautifully. All the red colors are opening up in front of your eyes. All the families every year are going to the south to see those. Now we can't even enter this place because it's a war zone. This beautiful flower varies between day and night. At night, when the uncertainty comes, all its petals reunite with its own stem. And only when the first rays of sunlight hitting the flower, when he feels safe enough, he's opening up again. I feel that my country is just the same. Because what we do now is trying to reunite. We are being as one. We're helping each other. And the new blooms of those flowers are my generation. I'm 22, my sister is 19, my brother was 20. We will be the next generation that will have kids on this land, that will love this country to dust, that thought that they got this country over a silver spoon, and now we understand that there is nowhere else we could have go, nowhere else we can go, and that this is our duty to find meaning for this suffering. I don't know how this story resonates with you. I don't know your approaches towards Israel, towards the political opinion. What I can tell you is that you're not looking at the eyes of a politician. You're looking at the eyes of a 22-year-old girl that just wanted to dance. 22-year-old woman that just lost her brother. A 22-year-old woman that is sacrificing her life and her mental health because all I want to do is show you the common ground, which is love. Thank you very much. I am here open for questions, for whatever you have.
I'm curious about your opinion when you mentioned early on that you were part of a group that had Israelis, Palestinians, Jordanians, etc. And having gone through this experience now, what is your perspective about still trying to bring some peace among all of those groups in the region?
First of all, thank you for this question. It's a very important one. When I was 14, I went to this summer camp, and it changed my life. Because the first time I put a face to the enemy, and I had friends that I love, and we could see that we all can play pickleball at the same field and also speak about peace. I was so naive back then. All I tried to do was to hold all of our pain. I felt it was my duty to understand them and to hold my narrative too. But after October 7th, all my friends from the group chat was making funny memes, admiring and laughing about October 7th. I wrote a message saying, "Hi, do you remember me? I just got back from the Nova and my brother died." Nobody responded. And I felt betrayed. And I feel like no matter how much my radical empathy towards the other side will keep and go on, I can't reach a hand to a one who will point a gun over me. And I experiencing it real life. And it's hard to not believe in peace because all we want to believe is that there will be somehow at some point better in my country. But now when everything is so traumatizing and an existential threat is still beyond our heads, we can't see beyond our own pain, and we need to reunite together.
Other questions? Ofri, I've been in Rotary for almost 30 years, longer than you've been alive. And this was one of the most powerful, beautiful presentations by anybody, let alone a 22-year-old. And so, one, thank you. Two, how long are you here for? You said you're traveling around and talking. What's your plan?
So this is my 8th stop already, and I have 8 more. I started at the end of August from LA, and I'm doing all the way up until New York, until the end of November. And I'm moving between universities, churches, high schools, Jewish communities and JCCs, just so people would understand. I mean, that's my job now. For me, as long as my friends are still serving in Gaza and Lebanon, I'm here, and this is my way to battle October 7th.
Well, amazingly articulate, and we wish you the best of luck. Any other questions? There we go.
So a terrific presentation. So I've traveled in Israel. What a beautiful country that it is. As an American, it's hard for me to understand why Hamas wants to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And I can't understand that. Do you have any insight from your perspective what that means and where this is going to end up?
This is a very hard question, especially because I am not a politician. And what I'm focusing on now is on trying to make myself better, and to not put enough thought about Hamas because it's hurtful. I feel like it's been there for a long time now, and it's not only Hamas. It's a phenomenon that is spreading around everywhere. I've heard that now in the States, Zionist became a bad word, like it's a curse. But being Zionist means live in a land that needs to be safe and sound, that I need to have my own place after all my great-grandparents got away from the Holocaust. And we wanted to make ourselves own space, safe space. And we see it in real life when anti-Semitism arises, even here. Hamas is trying to wipe us off the ground, but it's trying to wipe all the Western world off the ground. We are just getting in their ways.
I have a question, Ofri. So this is your 8th stop. Okay, 2 questions. What was your favorite question someone else has asked you? And what question would you like us to ask?
I got a question yesterday about what do I need to, okay, there was a woman that asked me about what should young mothers say to their child if they're going through stuff like that. That was the hard question I had that far. Because I still have no answer about it. And I promised the woman yesterday that I will answer her, but I still haven't picked up the phone because my mom is in the safe room all the time now. I'll talk to her later and I answer to you by that. Question I want to be asked is, how am I here? And how did it happen that from losing a brother and surviving the Nova, I'm standing here so tall, smiling and still choosing life? For me, the answer is very simple, which is post-traumatic growth. And post-traumatic growth is something that I didn't delve enough and spoke a lot about, but I'm speaking a lot about it because it was the first time my psychotherapist told me about post-traumatic growth. It's like she changed my entire prisma towards trauma. Post-traumatic growth means a positive psychological change that involves new meaning and finding new way of life. And the moment that I saw that I hit rock bottom, and this is the lowest point I could get, and out of this traumatic event, I can pull all the good outcomes out of and to become the strongest person in the room. Post-traumatic growth means that I now have responsibility to make my life better and to make the active choice to make my life better, even though I want to stay in bed for so long, even though October 7th, 2024 is approaching, and I have no idea how I'm gonna react. I will still be here. I will still make this active choice because I have nowhere else. It means that in my helpless search for meaning, I found my own nation, and I found that I'm not alone. And I started to grow and extend out of my own pain. Pain stays always in the same size in your body. You're just growing in front of it. And this is what I'm doing now.
Ofri, thank you so much for being here and for speaking not only about your experience and sharing, I'm so sorry, the horrific events that you had to go through. And I want to thank you for talking about the mental health aspect of it, because it's something in our country we don't do very much. And it's something that I'm proud to say that Rotary started to pay more attention to. So know that you are loved and cared for not only in Israel, but across the world.
Thank you.
We have another question over here.
So mine's a simple question. I was out of town on the 18th, and was there a movie at CSU? And what is the name of the movie, and how did we watch that if we would not wanted to?
The movie Supernova is a movie that takes raw footages of our phones, the Nova survivors, as long as the body footage cameras from the terrorists and how they attacked us. I never watched this film. I will never watch it. Maybe my kids will, and I will hold my hands and close my eyes. It's a movie that just simply shows all the atrocities. It's very hard to watch, but so important to watch. It was in CSU, but in order to watch it now still, you need to rent it from the director. There's multiple Jewish film festivals that showing this and Sheryl Sandberg's movie. And I just recommend everyone who wants to see a glimpse of what happened and feel strong enough and brave enough to do so, to try, because it will help not just me, but all of us to understand who are we facing against.
Other questions? So, a couple thoughts. One, you're poised to be able to stand up here and do this in front of a group of strangers is inspiring to all of us. Second, my doctorate is in marriage and family therapy, and you are going to be so much better off going through what you're doing now and talking in front of people. You are doing your own growth. You are doing your own healing. So I applaud you for that. And would you like to speak to what we have over here on the table?
Yeah, sure. I made a setup table with the first drawing I made in color, which was the oranges. It was just, I didn't even have canvases back then, so it was just simply an old vinyl that I had in the room. And I just started mixed colors, and that was the first time I tried in color. There is the prints of the drawing the girl with all the names that I managed to put on paper, as long as the name of my brother. There is a memorial candle that I light up every time I do my lecture, just in order to speak with my brother and give him my full attention. And you're welcome to observe, to look, to ask for question afterwards, to purchase. For me, I'm here. Thank you for your attention and for listening to me. I know it's hard. Thank you for giving me a piece of your time.
Thank you, Ofri.